In this video, we're going to talk about fractional exponents. So before I attempt this, I'll make sure you know your basic exponent rules. So we've now covered what if an exponent is a positive whole number. You've been doing this one for a really long time, and we just talked about what is a negative whole number. X to the negative 2, it's 1 over x squared. But what about all the numbers in between these whole numbers? Well, we're going to say a fractional exponent is just a shorthand for a root. And this is another thing that kind of makes sense as you look at what should happen when you multiply exponentials together and stuff like that. But again, we're just kind of learning this as a definition. A fraction exponent is a root, so x to the 1/2 is the square root of x. These two mean the same thing. X to the 1/3, right, that bottom number turns it into the cube root of x. X to the 1/8, that 8 because the 8th root of x. All right, so this is just our definition. A fractional exponent represents a root of a number. All right, so we're just going to kind of practice this. All right, what is the 7th root of b as an exponent? Well, it's the same as 1 over whatever the root is. All right, so the 7th root of b is b to the 1 over 7. What about the 12th root of c? Again, we're learning that this root is the same thing as an exponent where that number is on the bottom. All right, so here's one for you to try on your own. All right, how would you rewrite the square root of a as an exponent? And I'll share the answer in 3, 2, 1. All right, again, 2 is the special one where we don't write the number there, so you just have to remember that's 2, and it goes on the bottom of the fraction for the exponent. All right, now we're just going to do it in reverse, just kind of, again, make sure you have that connection memorized. X to the 1/3 is the cube root of x. All right, that 3 on the bottom tells me it's a cube root. Y to the negative 1/4, interesting. So we have the negative first. That means it moves to the bottom of the fraction. And then we have a 4th root because of the exponent. So that would be our final answer. And here's one for you to try on your own. How would you write a to the 1 over 9? I'll show the answer in 3, 2, 1. 9th root of a. That's a 9, and that's an a. All right, so a quick summary. Again, it's just a definition thing. Fractional exponents are just another way of expressing a root. So the most common ones we use are that square root and cube root, 1/2 power and 1/3 power. And depending on which situation you're in, one is more useful than the other. I feel like if I'm using numbers, the roots are more useful. If I'm using like variables and other things, then the exponents are more useful because I can combine them. So both are really useful, and that's why it's helpful to go back and forward between them.